All right, I'm going to make what I hope is a short video on 3 best practices that you can use when you take the GED test. At least 3. The first 2 don't really apply to math, but the last one does. The other ones will apply to everything. All right, so strategy number 1. Always read the question before you read the text. There are 2 reasons to do this. The first one is because it turns you into kind of like a treasure hunter. Like instead of just jumping into a big block of text and reading it, not really knowing why you're reading it, it makes your reading more purposeful, which sort of sharpens your attention and gives you a better chance of getting what you need, finding what you're looking for, which is the right answer. The other reason to do this is because there are sometimes, not a ton, but sometimes where the question will direct you to a specific part in the text and you won't need to read the whole question. And that can save you time. So let's take a look at an example of this. We're going to skip these 3 big, dense paragraphs about Hubert Humphrey and go right down to the question over here. As used in the last sentence, the word misapprehension most nearly means. All right, well, we just need to read the last sentence then. We can skip 2.5 paragraphs. Maybe to answer this question, there's 2 ways you can do it. You can look at the pieces of the word. Maybe you recognize that it starts with miss, and you know that other words that start with miss, like misunderstand or mistake, have to do with bad things, like wrong as a prefix. And apprehension, maybe you know what that means, maybe you don't, maybe you speak Spanish and you know what aprender means. You can figure it out just by the pieces of the word. Or the other way is to just plug in A, B, C, D until one of them makes sense. It turns out that a couple of them will sort of work, but one of them works better than the others, and that one is C. But we just saved a whole bunch of time just going right to the question first. All right, strategy number 2, use process of elimination. There's a couple of reasons for this also. The first one is because it gives you sort of like this system that sharpens your thinking. If you go into every question with this sort of mindset that you're not looking for the right answer, you're looking for the wrong answers, it's going to sort of like tighten up and lower the chances that you're going to make a careless mistake. The other reason is because there's a lot of times you're not going to know what the right answer is. It's not going to jump out at you. And if you're just randomly guessing, you get a 25% shot. But if you use process of elimination and look for wrong answers, you can eliminate 1 or 2 and increase the statistics on getting it right to 50%. And that's going to raise your score. So let's look at, hey, there it is again, Hubert Humphrey. Different question. This is also a technique that's very common on the GED, that they'll give you a big block of text and ask you 3 or 4 different questions about the same block of text. So it turns out our first strategy of reading the question first won't actually save us time, because this one will require us to read the whole thing. And if you want to pause the video right now and read this, please do that. Here's the question. According to the text, which of the following did not contribute to Humphrey's loss in the 1968 presidential election? All right, so it's like I'm shopping for fruit at a supermarket. I'm looking for the bad fruit that I'm not going to buy. And whatever's left, you know, the apple that's good enough, that's going to be my answer. So A, political upheavals that depressed the turnout of his base. This one is not obvious, but there's some inferences you can make, inferring you can do, that his political base were the liberals and the African Americans here. And the political upheavals, the riots in Chicago and the assassinations of major political figures and social figures, that's basically what happened here. They didn't show up to vote. So that's in there. This did contribute to Humphrey's loss. So it can't be A. A is wrong. We're looking for things that did not contribute. So Humphrey's association with an unpopular war, well, you look up here, it says he was loyal to the Johnson administration's policies in Vietnam, and that Johnson wouldn't seek re-election because the war was unpopular. So that's, again, not obvious, but an inference you can make. That's in there too. So it's not B, because that B did contribute. So we have 2 wrong answers. If we just had to guess right now, we have a 50-50 shot. All right, Humphrey's open ambition to be president. Well, it does say at the top here that he was ambitious. It uses the word ambitions. It says that he ran for president a bunch of times. It doesn't really talk about how that affected his like the outcome of the election. So this one is like a maybe. Like maybe it's, let's see how bad D is. If D is definitely in there, we know it's C. And if D is definitely not in there, then we'll go with D. But C is for now a maybe. All right, alienating fellow Democrats during the nomination process. Well, it says here that his strategy to get elected was unpopular among many Democrats. It lists here lingering intra-party bad blood, which refers to the nomination process of the Democrats. So again, you can make the inference it's not D because D did contribute to it. So that leaves us with the maybe, with C. That's the right answer. So that process of elimination got us that far. All right, strategy number 3, skip the hard, long stuff, come back to it at the end. This is because it's a time test, and you might find yourself running out of time at the end. And the GED doesn't save all the hard questions to the end. There could be questions at the very end that are really easy and you would definitely get right. And you don't want to have to just randomly check a letter before the time runs out. So skip the hard stuff, the stuff that you would actually have the lowest chance of getting right anyway. Do all the easy stuff and then come back to the hard stuff if you're running out of time. You want to, if you have to randomly guess, you want it to be on the stuff you might not get right. So, well, this is like, for me, this would be an example of a pretty hard one. I would see like 3 dense blocks of text. I would see like fancy words like electoral and stymied. Whoops. And that would be it. I would click on flag for later and come back to it at the end. I want to quickly just show you what this looks like on the test. This is a different question. This is from the GED's own website. They have a free test that you should all take. But if you look up here at flag for review, that's what you click on. And then at the end, it gives you a list of all the questions. There's only 9 on this test. There's more on the real one. But you can see here that I've skipped 3 questions. And at the end, I'm going to click on the word question. That's actually a link that will take me back to question 2. Or I can click on review unanswered. All right, that's it. To recap, use process of elimination. Read the questions before you read the text and skip the hard stuff. Come back to it at the end. I'm very proud of turning those boxes into check marks. That took me quite a bit to figure out for this slideshow. All right, thanks for watching. Check mark.